On the bottom here of Peizayin Amid Aleph, Rav Havi Posik Sidra Kame de Rebbe. Rav was reading the Parsha, and from Mikra of Nevi'im or Ksuvim in the presence of Rebbe. Ayel, and here we turn to Daf Peizayin Amid Beis. Asa, Rabbi Chia. And who entered? None other than Rabbi Chia. He also wanted to study the Parsha with Rav, but Rav at that time was learning with Rebbe. Rebbe was Rabbi Chia's uncle. Hadar L'Reisha. So Rav went back to the beginning of the Parsha. Ayel Bar Kapar. Now Bar Kapar comes in. Hadar L'Reisha. So once again, Rav goes back to the beginning of the Parsha because Bar Kapar also wants to be part of the learning. Also Rabbi Shimon Rebbe. So Rebbe's son comes in, Hadal Reisha, goes back to the beginning of the Parsha. Also Rabbi Chanina Chama. Omar Rav says, Kule Hai Neder Menezal. Can I go back to the beginning of the Parsha so many times? Lo Hadar. And therefore, he continued wherever he was up to, and he didn't go back to the beginning. Ikpid Rabbi Chanina, and Rabbi Chanina was makpid on Rav, that on his behalf, Rav refused to go back to the beginning. Also, Rav Legabe, and Rav went to try to be Mephayasim. Klesar Male Yoma de Kippure, on 12 consecutive years, on Erev Yom Kippur, he went to Rabbi Chanina to try to be Mephayasim below his pipes. And because of that one sin against Rabbi Chanina refused to grant Rav Mechila. So the Gemara asks, how is it possible that Rav would go and ask Mechila 13 times? When a person asks Mechila from his friend, if he offended him, the maximum is 3 times. And the Gemara says, Rav Shona. Rav is different. He was machmir on himself. He wanted to be mavakish Mechila more and beyond that which he was obligated. The Gemara asks another question. Reb Chanina, how could it be that Reb Chanina was so cruel? 13 years in a row, and he refuses to give Mechila. If a person is not makdid, and he's not medadbet on the midah of did, for those against those who caused him tsar, then the midah of din leaves him alone, and will not be medadbet. So Reb Chanina could have taken advantage of Maver al Midosov. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be Maver al Pshah, meaning if you'll be Mochel someone, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will be Mochel you. And the Gemara answers that which Rabbi Chanina was not Mochel, it wasn't because he was makpid on Rav. Ela Rabbi Chanina, Chelma Chazile LeRav, he saw Rav in a dream, Shez Kafu B'dikla, and Rav was hung up on a tree, on a date tree, a palm tree. Ugmiri, and we have a Kabbalah, a tradition that called this Kufu B'dikla Reishahavi, that anyone who is hung up on a dekel tree in a dream, he will be L'Rush, he will be Ola L'Gdula. Omar, therefore, Rabbi Chanina declared, in his heart, Shmamina boy lemevad reshusa. From this dream, I derived the conclusion that Rav must be appointed as the Rosh Hashiva. And now I'm the Rosh Hashiva. So maybe I'll die so that he can become the Rosh Hashiva. Below if I is, and I won't reconcile myself with him. So that now Rav would eventually run away. He'll go study Torah in Bavel, and then he'll be the Rosh Hashiva there. And he will not have to push me out, such that I will have to die because of him. There's room for both of us. I'll be Rosh Hashiva here in Eretz Yisrael. He'll be the Rosh Hashiva there in Bavel. Tana Rabbanon, mitzvahs vidui. The mitzvah of vidui on Erev Yom Kippur is imcha shecha. Once he accepts upon himself the Kedushas Yom Kippurim, after he ate his Suda Masechet, then he has a mitzvah vidu. But it's only after he ate. That's on a Doraisa level. If Nei Hashem Titor, Aval Amru Chachamim, Yisvada Kodem Sheochel V'Yishtei, should recite vidu before he eats his meal. Shema Titorif Daito B'Seuda. And here we have a machlokas how to interpret this. Some say that he'll get so involved in the Suda, he might get a little drunk, and he won't be able to clearly recite his vidu. Others say that he may die. Because the Rambam says he may get caught, something in his throat, and he'll die. And the big question on the Rambam is if he'll die, so Misa Mechaperes. And not only that, how could the vidu of Yom Kippurim help him if he doesn't experience Yom Kippurim? In any event, the Afal Pichas Father Kohen Shalachal V'Shasa, even though he's Mekayim this rabbinic requirement and he recited vidu before the Suda Masechet, nevertheless, Misvade Li Achar Sheyochel V'Yishtei needs a second vidu after he finishes his meal. And why is that? Shema Ered Dover Kakola B'Suda. Maybe during the course of the Suda he sinned in some sense. Maybe he had the wrong thoughts, or perhaps he said something that he shouldn't have said. Therefore, he needs a second vidu. The Afal Pishas Vadav Arvis. Now he has a third vidu during Ma'ariv. Yisvada Shachris. He needs another vidu in Shachris. Yisvada B'Musaf. He needs another vidu in Musaf. The Musaf, he recited vidu in Musaf. Yisvada B'Mincha. B'Mincha Yisvada. He was Misvada Mincha, but nevertheless, Shuv Yisvada B'Ne'ilah. The Hechan Omro, and where does he recite his vidui? And the answer is Yachid. If he's davening his silent Shmon Esrei as a Yachid, is Liachat Tfilasa. After he finishes Shmon Esrei, before he takes his 3 steps back. But the Shliach Tzibur, who is repeating the Shmon Esrei, Omro B'Emtza Tfilasa. There's no status of a Shliach Tzibur after he finishes his Tfilah. He cannot extend his tefillah beyond Hamavarech Hasamu Yisrael Bashalom. And therefore there would be no possibility of reciting vidu after Shmon Esrei. So if there's halacha vidu in Shmon Esrei, then he's got to do it be emtza Shmon Esrei, which is called the bracha revius. My Omar, what should he recite during his vidu? Omar Rav. He should first be mispalel to Hashem before the actual vidu. Ati yoderos, the old Shmuel Omar, mimamake halev. Mimamake halev. Again, there's another girsa, me'amko shel lev, or ata yodea mamake halev. A whole bunch of different girsos. And finally, we have Levi. Levi says, "B'soroscha kosuvlom kibiyom hazeh yichaper alechem l'taris chem yikol etchatzei l'shem." Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Ribon Holam. Law it says kasenu on. We don't rely on that tzidkis. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ki avonosenu rabu milimnos chatosenu atzmu milesaper. Rav Huna Amar Elokai ad shelo notzarti ani kedai. V'achshav shenotzarti ki lo notzarti ofrani b'chayai kavachom b'misasi arenim fanecha ki klima lebusho klima yiratzon fanecha shelo echtaod u'mashech atasi marok b'rachamecha rabim aval yidei yisurim hainu viduya derova kuli shaita. And this was actually the tefillah of Rava. Now, it says here, Viduye de Rava. And the Mefarshim say that this is a reference to Rav Hamnuna, who's going to come in the next line. He would recite this Viduy of Rava. Because Rav Hamnuna was the one who said, Elokai sher lo notzarti. U'de Rav Hamnuna zuta b'yomei de Kippura. And there was another Rav Zutra who was called Rav Zutra Katan. He would recite this on Yom HaKippur. Omar Zutra lo Amoron. We don't recite these tefillas ella delo Omar Avol Anachnu Chatanu. Avol Omar Avol Anachnu Chatanu Sulo Tzorech. He doesn't need any more tefillos, says Mar Zutra. All he needs is to recite Avol anachnu chaton. Yoma bar hamdudi. Havika imna kami the Shmuel. I was standing in front of Shmuel. Vavi Yosef. Shmuel was sitting. V'chimata shlicha de tzibura. When the shliach tzibur got up to V'yomar and he declared, Avol anachnu chatonu, come make him. Shmuel got up from his place. And Omar bar hamduri shmamino. The reason why he stood up is because ikar vidui hai hu. This is the main vidu, to recite the words Avol anachnu chatonu. So we're up to Tnan Hasam here towards the bottom of Pei Zion, Amid Beis, and Amir Hashem, we'll try to finish this up either today. I mean, today I have a bunch of shiur, but maybe earlier tomorrow morning. So I'll wish you a great day.
Sure.
Okay, thank you so much. We're pretty much caught up. Everything else will be online if it's not already online.